I'm making this vlog because actually I have no idea why. I saw Warm Bodies this morning, and I guess it's the main reason that I'm talking, because I'm gonna talk about the movie, but really it's because I've had a really feels-filled last week. I mean, there's a lot to it. I mean, single on Valentine's Day, college classes and the stress of socialization, and just paying too much attention to Katsucon and wishing I were out having a life like all these people that I follow on the internet. But I don't know. It's just, for those who don't know me, I have somatoform disorder. Um, Not sure exactly what all that entails for everyone, but what it boils down to for me is that my emotions are really strong, and when I don't deal with them, they get manifested in my body as various physical symptoms: pain, exhaustion, sometimes paralysis, intestinal upset, digestive troubles. And I've been having a lot of that right now. I'm hurting pretty bad, and I guess I'm trying to express something by vlogging. Yeah. It's not going to be very interesting, and there's going to be tons of spoilers for the movie, so I'll try and warn you before I get to those, but, you know, I don't know what I might blurt out. Anyway, premise of the movie. R is the main character. He's a zombie. He doesn't remember what he was when he was a human, but he's starting to think more than zombies normally do. And then he sees a girl. And that's pretty much what's set up in the trailers, and um, I think that's as far as I want to go before I get into spoilers. I mean, you can figure out more about what's going on in the movie from the trailers, but, trailers kind of spill all too much sometimes. Anyway, I like the movie. It was really good. I mean, I fell in love with the trailer way back, and was like, good trailer, bad movie, right? Well, good trailer, good movie. I really enjoyed it. It was a good romance, and also some nice action, humor. Characters felt pretty real. I mean, a little bit towards the comedic side, and it didn't take the apocalypse all too seriously, but it also wasn't a complete, camp fest either. I mean, it was a nice balance of comedy and drama, and I no, not really a whole lot of horror. I mean, there were a couple jump scares and some, kind of gruesome imagery, but it really wasn't a suspense film. Um, I thought it handled the characterization well. You really feel like you're getting to know the characters and the world that they were inhabiting, and it really had a nice weight to it without feeling like it was dragging you down in, oh my goodness, apocalypse and the end of humanity. No, it was more hopeful than that, even at the dark moments. But now I think is where we're going to get into some spoilers, because this hits some really deep notes for me in my life and comparisons to me. I mean, I'm not a zombie, but I kind of was one for years. Not like undead, but I wasn't really living. For those of you who don't know my medical history, I got sick about 15, and from 15 until 32, I had no idea what was wrong with me. I was in increasing amounts of pain and exhausted all the time, and I just started to tear down at my life. I mean, I had some semblance of a life, through my teenage years into my early 20s. I did some college. I, had friends, I had family, but about 25, 24, 25, my health just took a complete nosedive. I didn't know why at the time. And for from about age 26 to about 32, for about 6 years, it's kind of existed. I didn't actually live. I sat there and soaked up pop culture and whatever I could take in through my internet screen, and I played games and watched movies and argued in forums and kind of had this little window on the world but wasn't really part of it, and I'd given up on having any part of it. I was just in too much pain, and just it was too exhausting to go out of the house. It was too exhausting to have friends, and the biggest part was is that my health was so bad that I stopped feeling emotion. And it's really unclear how much of that was me repressing emotion and how much was my body was just too stressed to actually feel much. But, for a good 5 years, I didn't feel anything but a mixture of anger and fear. I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel sad. I just, sometimes I felt angry and afraid. At the same time, a mix. And even that wasn't really that strong. So before I ended up in a psychiatric hospital, my health started improving because we'd done some medical, dietary fixes and stuff like that. That actually, I ended up having my emotions come back before I went to the hospital, but that ironic. Anyway, for good 5 years, I didn't feel much. I didn't do much. I didn't even dream. My health was so bad. My doctor, MD from before I went in the psychiatric hospital said I probably wasn't dreaming. I wasn't sleeping deep enough to dream. And that's where we get into the parallels with the story. In Warm Bodies, and spoilers, the zombie falls in love with Julie. I mean, R and Julie, Romeo and Juliet. I mean, kind of a parallel there. R falls in love with Julie, and because of that, his heart takes the first beat, and he starts accelerating in his ability to speak, and he starts to feel for her and care for her and protect her. And over the course of the movie, he starts to relearn what it's like to be human, and then his love for Julie starts impressing the other zombies, and they start wanting to feel too, and start wanting to learn and trying to remember how to be human again. And there are a number of parallels that I can see, because he starts to dream again, he starts to feel again, and I've had to go through a lot of that, and it's not easy. It's not easy when you don't remember what it's like to be human. I had these memories probably more than R did, but not what it was like to be an adult. I never really was an adult. Even going to college in my 20s, I wasn't my age. I was smart, but I wasn't mature. I wasn't. So I'm the last 9 months for me have been going through figuring out what it means to be alive again. I wasn't dead, but sure as heck wasn't alive for those years. So yeah, dreaming, living, feeling, and seeing what you were as a monster, because that's part of my current social anxiety, is this hatred for myself and what I was, and thinking that others are going to view me as a monster in some form or fashion because I've lived such an unusual life, and because I am socially awkward at points and I don't always get how I'm supposed to act in society. And it's tough to try and overcome that view of yourself, and to figure out how to be alive when you weren't. There's so many things that people take for granted, and at the end of the movie, when R has proven to the humans, the soldiers, that he's actually alive again, and he starts bleeding, and they start welcoming the other zombies who have fought against the further gone one bonies who are just like walking skeletons, and they're the really scary, irredeemable ones. And they start teaching the zombies how to live again, and it's a slow process, and people are confused and scared at first. And yeah, I see a lot of parallels between that and the psychiatric hospital, where it's hard to teach a group of people how to be human again, and how to get them to give up habits that were harming them, and to embrace the little things that make us human, and how to interact, and what it means to be alive. And I started crying in the theater just a little, to think about what I've been through recently, just this past 9 months of this year, and it really touched me on a lot of good levels, and I really enjoyed the movie because of that. I so I highly recommend going to see Warm Bodies. It's very well done, very emotional, with a lot of good humor and heart to it. And I think in some ways I also see a parallel between me and R, in that what got him started was love, and this affection for Julie. And I think a lot of what really got me going was a couple of different crushes I've had. I had a crush before I went in the mental hospital that eventually realizing that I couldn't follow through on that crush was what led to my depression that put me in the mental hospital. And then another crush I have now that isn't going anywhere, and both of those have really kind of sparked me to realize just how dead I was. I don't think I really would have realized just how much I'm missing the world if I hadn't had those two focal points. And I mean, they're both kind of unrealistic crushes. They're not going to happen. Yeah, I kind of envy R getting to have his girl fall back in love with him in return, but it really is remarkable how much that type of affection can really act as a spurring inspiration to want to live again, and to try and figure out what it means to be human, and to kind of take self-examination because of Pretty Girl. So I guess that's my vlog. So I feel a little better having let out my feels. Catch you guys later.